Good evening, Memphis Metro. This is MemphisWeather.net meteorologist Eric Procius coming to you a little bit before 7 o'clock on Wednesday night, March 24th. It seems like it wasn't that long ago we did this. In fact, it was 8 days ago. And here we are again, preparing for the potential for severe weather tomorrow, March 25th, Thursday. Let's go through a little bit of an overview of what we're expecting. And this is going to look somewhat familiar to what we saw last week, actually, with the start of some early morning storms. Expect those to start rolling into the Memphis Metro after about 3 o'clock in the morning, lasting for several hours, actually, off and on, maybe up until about 9 o'clock. A few of those storms could possibly be severe, maybe with a little bit of large hail in those. Can't rule out a damaging wind gust either. As we head into the middle portion of the day after a lull during the, what we expect will be a lull anyway, during the morning to late morning hours, by early afternoon, we could see some isolated strong to severe storms popping up in the area. Can't rule those out in this particular area, but I expect most of those will be off to the east of the metro. We're going to definitely want to keep an eye on that. And then as we head into the late afternoon, cold front will finally sweep through here, bringing a pretty good line of storms, broken to solid line of storms, likely during the afternoon rush hour between about 4 and 6 p.m. This represents the highest probability of severe weather during the day, the most locations that might be affected by that. But both rush hours tomorrow look to be impacted. Our primary threats with the morning storms are, again, potential for large hail, some gusty winds. Cannot rule out an isolated tornado, but I think that probability is very low tomorrow morning. Could see some heavy rain that could lead to some flash flooding, though, too. That'll be the more prolonged event of the day, and so if you get multiple rounds of storms or heavy rain, that could lead to some ponding. Keep that in mind as you head out for work or school in the morning. And then in the afternoon, all modes of severe weather will be possible. Could see some damaging winds, large hail, or possible tornadoes from maybe those isolated storms that are possible during the early portion of the afternoon to mid-afternoon, and then certainly with the line that moves through late in the day. We're going to take a quick look here at, as this loops through a couple of times, of how the radar may evolve tomorrow. This is the NAM3 high-resolution model, valid from midnight tonight to 8 o'clock tomorrow evening. And you'll see, first of all, the first round of storms moves through during the late overnight and morning hours. We get a kind of a break there before that last line moves through with the cold front. We'll let this go through another time, and you'll see those storms in the morning. Looks pretty wet as we head into the morning hours. And then most of those storms in the afternoon, again, I think will be off to our east. We'll give this one more round, and you'll see behind that main band, off into eastern Mississippi and western Alabama, there's some pretty decent storms in that area, and then you've got the line moving through here. So to summarize kind of the threats that we expect during the day tomorrow, we'll approximate timing from about 3 a.m. to about 6 p.m. in multiple rounds. We are basically bisected here in the metro by an enhanced to moderate risk of severe weather. That is level 3 to 4 out of 5. For right now. And I don't want you to get hung up on exactly where that line is and think that, well, I'm west of that line in the orange, and so I'm going to be okay, or I'm east of the line and it's going to be terrible. We're all at basically the same risk of severe weather tomorrow. We need to be prepared for the possibility of getting some strong storms as this moves through. We'll look at the overall probabilities of severe weather starting in the upper left here. The overall risk level is 3 to 4 out of 5, right on the edge of that enhanced to moderate risk zone, with the higher probabilities of severe weather being to our east, kind of in the core of that moderate risk. The tornado outlook for tomorrow, we are on the edge of a 10 to 15% chance of tornadoes. That's 10 to 15% chance within 25 miles of any one location. For the hail risk, we're pretty square in the middle of a 30% risk. That's a pretty high risk of hail tomorrow. That could come in a couple of different waves, not only the early morning round, but perhaps in some of those afternoon storms as well. And for damaging wind, right around a 30% risk of damaging winds as well, which is also quite elevated. So we want to be prepared for the possibility of any of those types of severe weather tomorrow. And the black kind of hatching that is over all three of those particular threats indicates that any of those chances that we get could be significant severe weather. So there will be some strong tornadoes I expect tomorrow. Hopefully they do not affect the Memphis Metro, but we do have a risk of that. Also very large hail and high winds. To kind of summarize our risk for tomorrow, we are in a enhanced to moderate risk 3 to 4. The title is off there on that slide, but that indicates the potential for some severe storms, possible to likely. We could see some widespread storms, especially off to our east, but I think all of us are going to see some tomorrow. We have the potential in the moderate risk area for strong tornadoes possible tomorrow, as well as destructive hail. Where are you? You need to know your geography tomorrow, as these storms are moving in the morning from south to north and then in the late afternoon from west to east. Know those counties around you. Find out which county you're in, which counties are to your west, so that when warnings are issued, you know whether those storms are headed your direction. The difference between a watch and a warning, we go over this every time, but it sometimes just needs to be reiterated that you know when a watch is issued, the conditions are favorable for severe weather. Those watches typically last for several hours and cover a large area. You need to be prepared to act. If a watch is issued, you do not need to go to your safe place during the watch, but you need to be ready to do so. If a warning is issued, whether a severe thunderstorm warning or a tornado warning tomorrow, that means that severe weather is occurring or imminent, and you need to go ahead and get in your safe place in the small area, lowest floor of your home, or if you're in a mobile home or in a vehicle, you need to abandon those and find safer place to take cover. You take action during a warning. The tornadoes that are possible tomorrow could spin up fairly quickly. So if a severe thunderstorm warning is issued, you need to be prepared to act for those as well. To simplify it for some of us, cupcake watch is when all the ingredients are in one place and not put together yet. A cupcake warning is when we have that delicious dessert there on the right. Hopefully that gets the point across to you. Tornado sheltering guidelines, you want to be as far to the right on this chart as you possibly can for your good options. Best options are certainly a tornado shelter or a specifically designed safe room. But if you don't have that option, you find the interior room of your well-constructed home or building. You don't want to be in places with large open span roofs like gyms, gymnasiums, manufactured housing. Mobile homes are basically just a large vehicle, and they can be turned over pretty easily in high winds. Move towards the good options if you don't have the best. Warning dissemination methods, there are many. You need to have multiple options to get warnings tomorrow. Fortunately, this event will primarily occur during daytime hours, so that will help, but you need to be having multiple ways to get your warnings. Any one of those could fail, so any combination of those is better than just one. To summarize, we have a round of early morning storms tomorrow that could bring some hail, strong wind, possibly an isolated tornado. The late afternoon storms are more likely to be severe, and we could see any mode of severe weather during that event. Prepare tonight for the possibility of hail, damaging winds, tornadoes, and heavy rain tomorrow. If you have vehicles that you can put in the garage tonight, do so. If you have loose objects outdoors that might blow away, it's time to nail those down or bring them in and have that safe room ready for you just in case you need it tomorrow. Have multiple ways of receiving weather information. I've already mentioned that. One of our favorites is our own. Go to app.MemphisWeather.net and download the MWN app, and then you can activate Stormwatch Plus alerts within that app to get your severe weather warnings. We need you to have your head about you, to be staying weather aware tomorrow, to be prepared and not scared. And finally, I'll end with one more plug for our mobile app. You can set multiple locations to receive your alerts for. You can have it follow you if you're going to be out and about. You can tell it to use en route, and it will make sure that it tells you if you drive into a warning. You choose the types of alerts you want, and for tornado warnings and severe thunderstorm warnings, they will give you quite an annoying sound that will get your attention and let you know that you are not in a safe place. We hope that you are staying safe tomorrow, that you stay ready, that you follow us on social media, Memphis Weather 1 on Facebook and Twitter. Starting early tomorrow morning and continuing throughout the day, we'll have routine updates and make sure that everyone has the latest information. Everyone have a great night, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.